What's the dumbest way a player character in your group has died? Part 1. The party needed to sneak past a sleeping beholder and successfully did. Then their Beastmaster Ranger decided she wanted to taunt the beholder, so she sent her owl in to wake it up so she can give it the finger before shutting the door in its face. The owl wakes the beholder up. The beholder manages to hit the owl with a paralyzing ray before it could get back to the ranger. The ranger goes to try and grab the owl and run. She rolls a natural 1 dex save against the beholder's disintegration ray. Hurt from a previous battle, she drops to 0 hit points. She turns to dust. Good news is her owl managed to break out of paralysis and escape. Party had assaulted a group of cultists. The cultists didn't know the party knew that they were cultists and were playing the clueless nobles that had been attacked and paying off town guards. They found the rogue who had stupidly ignored multiple warnings to not wander off alone and to get out of the house. He'd wandered off alone and was searching the house. Cultists played their victim story to the rogue, including a comment that the lead cultist had retreated when the devils had appeared and attacked her. Rogue: they didn't attack you, I attacked you, and you were controlling those devils. As the DM, I put my hands in my face and the table went silent. Rogue had just told the cultists that the party knew they were cultists and that he'd attacked her, so the cultists, surprised but attempting to continue to play it cool, spin their story more, how some cultists had snuck into their cellar and created a sacrificial spell circle there. Rogue: can you take me to see it? Stupidly, he followed them down and, well, his soul was sacrificed to Asmodeus, all because the rogue didn't know when to shut up and play along. It was all my fault. It was the misty time of the 4th edition, and we were deep underwater. I was a Warforged Warden, the tank, the myth, the legend, Breath Stoneman, Walker of Sigil, an installation of the Sensates. I didn't need to breathe to fight the giant regenerating undead cephalopod, so I was doing most of the work holding it beneath the water while the team worked out a plan to kill the thing. My teammate, total newbie, and only other person who didn't need to breathe, Human Parson, came down to join me. I remembered that I had a weapon that could generate electricity. Figuring that a large creature underwater would take extra damage, I pulled it out and began hoping for a crit to activate its ability. Next attack, 20. Hell yeah. I start rolling dice. Near perfect damage. I announce it to the DM and make the case for it doing extra damage underwater. DM smiles at me. I feel the color drain. He rolls some dice of his own and announces how much lightning damage I take. I use my incredible Warforged tank abilities to eat the damage like a boss. Everything's fine, and the cephalopod died too. Nice. I'm the hero, as usual. I start to laugh, but the DM is still smiling. He looks to Human Parson. Human Parson does not have enough hit points for half the damage I just dealt. He dies instantly. And that's how I killed my first ever PC before I was even a DM. My friends were climbing a rope. I started to move it to scare them. One fell, over me. I was at 1 hit points, so unconscious. No one healed me. I failed the death saves. Literally just happened in our game. We discover an angel in a crater that has fallen to earth. As she wakes up, she screams that devils are coming to reclaim what she has stolen. The DM throws 2 spiked devils, a horned devil, and a pit fiend at us. We all kill off the lesser devils with the help of the angel, but the pit fiend has the pally, me, on the ropes and is about to strike a killing blow. Our bard slips on his ring of 3 wishes, dimension doors 500 feet above the pit fiend, and wishes to slay it. He points his rapier straight down and turns himself into an artillery shell. Does 326 damage to himself with the fall, and because the wish just made him fall faster, does the same damage to the fiend. The rest of us hit level 9 because of him, but he's now a red smear on the ground. Committing very obvious crimes in a major city and failing to consider the consequences of attacking the guards in broad daylight after that. Like, I'm all for a little criminal activity now and then, but you gotta at least try to be subtle. Scaling the side of a wizard tower in a major city in broad daylight with no magic to conceal you is gonna get noticed. After drawing out some powerful wizards who were having none of their shit, I offered them a chance to go to prison. Potential classic escape plot. But no, let's initiate combat with the wizard guards and keep fighting until the first person that was KO'd bleeds out, and despite the guards offering to treat their wounds if the others surrender. The party casually walked into what was clearly telegraphed to be a tough encounter. First guy goes down. The wizard decides to flee, dropping her caltrops behind her. The last two party members decide to try and save their fallen friend by dragging him away. Over the caltrops. For myself, it had to have been my barbarian. After fighting some bears and our cleric and only healer unconscious, I took the initiative and looked for something to heal him. I discovered a beehive and from a decent nature check knew that it could be used to seal the cleric's wounds. So I climbed the tree to get it. I managed to get up, but got attacked by the bees while being in single-digit health, got killed by bees and a 35-foot fall. For all times ever probably the bard who tried to seduce the dragon, he succeeded and died to snoo since the dragon was atop. So it was 4 of us, all level 3, and 1 DM PC who turned on us mid-fight. Fighting a necromancer who just so happened to be a 13th level spellcaster. Either that, or it was a 5th level spellcaster and the DM didn't know how upcasting magic missiles work as he fired 9 at us. His next turn, the DM goes on a monologue about the real reason people become a wizard and describes how a red bead of fire is traveling towards us. At this point, I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" .jpg. So, using Rule of Cool, I ask our DM if I can roll a dex check to use a bonus action as my reaction, as with the monologue, I would have enough time and would be focused on him already. DM, curious about my plan, and allows me to roll. Nat 18, so he allowed it. I explain that as soon as I see the red bead float towards us, I'm going to use Misty Step right in front of the necromancer and have it detonate on me and him. Party is happy because they don't get blown up. DM is surprised because I was on 3 hit points and thought I was going to run and I've just accepted my fate. Dex save time. Nat 1 with a near max damage fireball. I turned to a crisp. The reason I think this is the dumbest way is because I don't think we should have even been in that situation. Thinking back, it seemed like the DM just wanted us dead. Along with the potentially 13th level caster, the DM player character was a rogue with plus 10 to hit and plus 6 to damage. Again, we are all level 3. The party were trekking through the mountains to find a place of holy significance to our paladin. The party consists of the paladin, a cleric, fighter, rogue, and a druid. The druid player had always been kind of a thorn in our sides, arguing rulings, generally being a pain to both players and DM, me. In this instance, the party noticed while traveling the mountains they were being stalked by a very large white dragon, so they made the decision to stop walking along the very tops and start using the rocky slopes so they'd have a place to hide if need be. As they descended a little ways down, they spotted the dragon taking flight in their direction, so they scrambled to hide. Except the druid. The druid instead wild-shaped into a giant eagle and flew up to take a look. Everyone at the table was shocked and questioning. Our cleric even sent a spell slot to cast Sending on him, pleading him to come back. He replied with a, "Saw that, I'm having a look." Thus began a 45-minute IRL long chase of this dragon, pursuing the druid in his giant eagle form. He tried all sorts of things, such as diving through a nearby, 4 miles away, forest and losing it, though the rolls weren't going well for him. The dragon would breath attack him very occasionally and knocked him out his form, but he used another wild shape to maintain it. He'd complain that the party, who are not only hiding from the dragon, but are at least 4 miles away, weren't helping him at all. After over 45 minutes passed, the player said he needed to go home and left about 3 hours before we were expected to end the session. Then he never turned up to another session after that. So as a collective, we just decided the dragon eventually caught him. Died because he wanted to take a look. Now this one is a little more personal to me, and when I say me, I mean me. Dave Makes Noises, the person reading this to you. That me. Once upon a time in the faraway universe of Ready to Roll, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast that I edit and compose for, I played in one of our weekly live stream campaigns at twitch.tv/ready_to_roll. Shameless plug. For this campaign, I played Clunk Head Smasher Klug, a Path of the Zealot Goliath Barbarian. He was overall pretty well rolled for a barbarian, I'd say solid meat tank brawler. I was basically trying to replicate Krieg's rampage skill tree and overall character from Borderlands 2. To say that Clunk's intelligence was a dump stat, well, that would be an understatement. Dude was derpy as fuck. Basically needed a headband of intellect just to speak in any dialect other than monosyllabic grunts, tortured screams, and bloodthirsty expressions of murder and crazy in perfect harmony. Tormented by the swift and gruesome slaughter of his family and their entire mountain village, Clunk had a habit of going all the way into death saves to soak up as much damage for his party as he could in combat. He had very nearly died just a couple weeks prior protecting his friends. DM puts us up against a Tyrannosaurus Rex. But not a living Tyrannosaurus Rex. No, this was an undead T-Rex that vomited fucking zombies. Clunk did the Clunk thing, flying into his rage and swinging recklessly at whatever was unfortunate enough to cross his path, but failed a grappled check, ending up trapped inside the mouth of this huge zombie-spewing chompy boy. Having experienced firsthand the deadly chompy power of these moldering, stinky teeth, Clunk decided that he should have one with which to craft a greatsword. Rather than make an escape check, Clunk spent his next turn attempting to pull loose one of those necrotic, pearly, brown, black, red, and whites. T-Rex bit down again and bloodied the formidable warrior. Now you'd think, at this point, Clunk would have tried to make another escape check. He did not. After spending another turn playing dentist, the DM rolls his bite attack again. Crit. Almost max damage. Clunk was shorn in twain. Permadead. He bought his party enough time to otherwise dispose of the T-Rex and saved everybody else a whole lot of hurt, save a couple of tail attacks in between. The clerics and healers of the village we were protecting couldn't put Clunkty Dunkty together again, but they told of a particularly strange druid of formidable prowess who had made his home recently in the woods bordering town. This large mushroom-addled furbolg, Erdu, a retired PC from a 2-year campaign we played that the DM had requested to be retired due to how much he had broken the universe of our game, was able to cast Reincarnate on Clunk due to his soul being marked for endless battle. Warrior of the Gods, 3rd level Path of the Zealot feature. I rolled on the reincarnation table and was brought back as a Scourge Aasimar. Torm, God of Courage, rewarded Clunk for his willingness to lay his life blindly on the line for those around him. I respect my stat rolls into Oath of the Ancients Paladin, and Clunk the Redeemed was born. No longer tormented by the nightmares of his past, Clunk the Redeemed fought evermore in devotion to Torm and the protection of his loved ones. TLDR, Clunk was bitten in half by a zombie-vomiting undead T-Rex because he wanted to steal a tooth more than he wanted to live for some reason.